We are here with the youngest winner of a Star Mazda Championship race with Sage Karam at the age of 16, 101 days, which that just beat Graham Rahall's record. So congratulations. That was a hell of a weekend because it brought you up from 7th in points, and now you're 5th in points. But let me talk to you a little bit about the beginning of the race at Milwaukee. You qualified P3, but by lap 5, you were in the lead. Was it the cold balance in the car, or was it something else?
Really, I mean, the team just put a master setup together. It rained right before the race, and all the IndyCar rubber that was laid down, so we pretty much took that rain, and we thought it was going to be right around practice 2 conditions, so we went off of that, and it pretty much came out to be just like that. So the team just looked at their notes, and then we went back to that practice 2 setup. We really didn't change much from our qualifying setup, and it just happened to work out really well. And there was a lot of grip out there, a lot more grip than I thought. So we were pretty confident with our setup, and I could go pretty fast, quick.
We briefly had a point to be able to talk about the rain that washed the track before we were able to go back out again. But you had mentioned that we knew that the Indy cars were out on the track for a good 2 hours laying down rubber. Was that any part of the analysis?
Yeah, I mean, we knew when the Indy cars were laying down rubber and stuff that it was going to be more grip and the setup was going to change. And through the weekend, you just saw the track just getting darker and darker. And you had this one reference point in 4, this black rubber patch, and then all of a sudden you can't see it anymore. So, I mean, the track was just getting so rubbered up. And then this rain came and it just threw everything away. You know, it's just we didn't know really where to go. And then we just made those changes. And for some reason, it just helped out so much compared to everybody else. I don't know what everybody else did, but what we did was just perfect.
We've had a lot of people emailing in asking questions. How many oval races do you now have underneath your belt?
That would have been my 4th start.
Wow, congratulations. Well, part of that, again, we had a brief interview after the night before the 500, and you were talking about dirty air and what you had learned on the track. Again, back then, that would have been your 3rd start that you had. Excellent run. You finished 3rd. Dirty air and what you learned from that race, did that help you with this win?
Yeah, I mean, when we were following lap traffic cars and trying to get through traffic, I just found that when I was going down low and everything, we couldn't get that run down the back straight or down the front straight to get into the inside and make the pass on the lappers. So halfway through the race, I found if I popped the wing a little high, half a wing high, that actually helped out a lot more. So I started popping half a wing high instead of going low like I always did, and we started just building up momentum down the back straight and the front straight and making passes. So, I mean, that's really going to play an effect here at Iowa. You got a bigger track, more banking, and hopefully that we can just maybe just be in the lead and run away like we did at Milwaukee, but it's going to be a little tougher, I think.
Well, before we get into Iowa, I have another question back on the last long run that we had. With watching the cars during the race, it seemed about halfway through the race, some of the cars that didn't have the right setup were started going on the down elevator and started losing a lot of positions, one of the Pelfrey cars being the example. How were you on the long run? Was there any adjustments or anything that you had to chase on the car?
No, I mean, mainly in practice. We were just working on our race setup. Everybody else was throwing tires on and throwing tires here and there, and we were just one set of tires pretty much the whole day. And we were just working on our long stints and all that. So throughout the race, I really didn't change much. I was just driving, then halfway through, the car was starting to get a little bit loose, so I went stiff with the front bar. And then all of a sudden we started building up a little understeer, so I went back to middle, and then from there on the car was pretty much perfect. It just like cured everything somehow. Like the front tires went off a little bit and it just was the perfect balance. So that's all I did really.
Well, so we get to know a little bit more of the personalities that are talking to you in your helmet. First, who is on the radio with you, and what was it like during the race? Were they real talkative, giving you splits, telling you what to adjust on the car? What were they telling you, and who was it?
Well, I got Yancey, my engineer. He was talking to me, and I got Poppy, my crew chief. He was talking to me. Mainly, they pretty much just split the time talking. Poppy talks a lot, and they were pretty much just telling me, save my tires, because we were running 27s, and the rest of the field's running 28. So they thought my tires were going to go, and the car was just going to get real loose. So I pretty much got in this cruise mode and started running low to mid 28s, and then once we got there, they they pretty much didn't talk much until like the last couple laps. They started giving me intervals saying that, all right, you can slow down a little bit now. You got a big enough lead. So then from there on, I just put my head down and ran the same times, and we were consistent, and we got to the finish.
How is it to be able to split up when they tell you, okay, you can, cruise mode, kick it down a gear, and still concentrate hard enough to be able to get past the lap traffics? How do you balance that?
Well, I mean, at first when they tell you to slow down and everything, I mean, you don't really expect that being a race car driver. You just want to go as fast as you can. And when they're telling you to slow down, it's almost like they're breaking you out of your rhythm. So I had to first get into this whole other rhythm and this mindset going through the race. And then once I started doing that, I got caught behind Tatiana, I believe it was. And they said, all right, she's running the same exact times as second place. So I just cruised around her, behind her for about 10 laps, and just found out what was the actual pace I needed to run to be able to save my tires at a good pace and hold and keep my team happy so they're not yelling at me. So once I got that down, I realized where I needed just to lift, and that's when we started running mid 28s, and then from there on the car, I was just cruising.
When you're talking with your, obviously you've got, or you told us that you have two guys talking to you on the radio. Are there specific places on the track that you like them to be able to talk to you? I mean, is it only on the straightaways, or do you allow them to talk anywhere on the track?
I try to get them to talk to me mostly on the straightaways. I don't really like when they're talking to me in the middle of the corner, especially at Milwaukee. I mean, one little mistake there, and it could be pretty bad. So I really like when they try to talk to me as best they can and get it all out in the front straight and the back straight. But, sometimes they just keep going and they have to talk in the middle of the corner. But if they're going to talk in the middle of the corner, I would like for them to start, on the front straight or something, so I know it's coming. I just don't like all of a sudden hear this key up in the middle of the apex and then just was like, whoa, what was that,
Well, congratulations on that, and I wanted to finish on a note again. You are the youngest Formula Mazda Championship winner at the age of 16 and 101 days, again beating Graham Rahal's record. But now to move over to today, we have just got off the track here at Iowa, and you were at the top of the charts for the most of the time, but at the very end of the day, you were P4. Any statements?
I'm ready for the race. Let's go. I think we're going to be there again, just like Milwaukee. It's going to be a tough qualifying, so hopefully we can go flat through 1-2 with that bump there. I think if you can go flat through there, you're going to be close to pole. I mean, the field's so tight right now. The top 6 is like less than a tenth or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to the race, and we've been working on race setup here, so hopefully we can just get the jump and pull away.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and good luck at this weekend.